Pre-sale or resale. If you're buying in Vancouver right now, someone has probably already pitched you one of these, and there's a good chance they had a financial reason for doing it. Today, I'm giving you an honest breakdown, no spin, no agenda, just what actually makes sense in this market, who each option is right for, and mistakes I see buyers make over and over again, costing them tens of thousands of dollars. I'm Dan Reilly. I sell real estate across Metro Vancouver. I own investment properties here myself, and have sat across from enough buyers to know exactly what nobody else is telling you. So let's get into it. So here's the context we need before we get into the breakdown. Vancouver is sitting on significant pre-sale inventory right now. Developers who launched projects 2 and 3 years ago are completing, and they're competing hard for buyers. Some of them are cutting deals, some of them are in real life financial trouble, and a lot of buyers are walking into presentation centers in Falls Creek, Brentwood, Broadway corridor, etc., getting wowed by the model suite and the free parking offer, and signing contracts without fully understanding what they're getting into. At the same time, resale inventory is up across the city. Sellers are sitting longer. The frenzied multiple offer environment that defined Vancouver just a few years ago is not the reality in most price ranges right now. Buyers actually have leverage, real leverage, and most of them have no idea how to use it. So that's the backdrop. Now let's break it down properly. Pre-sale first, then resale, then I'll give you my full honest take on who should be buying what right now. And here's why most people buy pre-sales. You lock in today's price. The idea is by the time that unit completes in 2 or 3 years, the market has appreciated and you've made money before you've even moved in. In a rising market, it's historically worked out very well for a ton of people, and Vancouver has a long track record of that. The deposit is spread out, typically 5 to 10%, and in stages over several months instead of coming up with everything at once. For buyers who need time to accumulate the down payment, that structure can feel a lot more manageable. Brand new building, a new home warranty, modern layouts, modern finishes, in-suite laundry, EV ready parking. Nobody's lived there, nothing is worn out, you're starting completely fresh. A lot of the times now there's no bidding wars. You walk in, you choose your floor plan, and you sign a contract. It's a controlled environment compared to the stress of competing with multiple offers on a resale property. And here's something that's actually relevant right now, specifically with motivated developers sitting on unsold inventory. You can negotiate things that weren't on the table just 2 or 3 years ago. Upgrade packages, assignment rights, and in some cases, huge price reductions. So developers who need to move their units before financing comes are more flexible than they've been in a long time. That's the pitch, and again, it's not wrong, but it's just incomplete. Here's what doesn't get said in the presentation center. 1, you're buying something that doesn't exist yet. The model suite is staged by a professional designer. The renderings are created by a marketing agency, and what actually gets built 2 years from now can look very different. Finishes get substituted. Square footages can shift. That unobstructed mountain or water view in the marketing materials sometimes gets a new tower that goes up next door before yours completes. This is Vancouver. Density is moving very fast. Read your contract carefully and understand exactly what you're locked into before you sign. Next, we're going to talk about GST. New construction in Canada triggers GST on an $800,000 condo in Vancouver. That's $40,000. There is a rebate available for primary residences under a certain threshold, but it has conditions and limits. If you're buying as an investor or renting it out, your rebate situation is completely different. Talk to a real estate lawyer and an accountant before you sign anything, not after. Next, we're going to talk about completion risk. You sign today, you take possession in 2, maybe 3 years, and a lot can happen in that window. The market could drop and you're locked into a higher price with no way out. Your personal financial situation could change, job loss, relationship change, mortgage qualifying criteria that worked in 2024 that might not work for you at completion. And right now in BC, developers are running into real trouble. Projects are being delayed. Some are being sold off to new developers mid-construction. Know who you're buying from, check their track record on previous projects, and understand your legal rights if things do go sideways. Next, we're going to talk about how strata fees can get lowballed. This is very common. Developers estimate strata fees in the disclosure documents, and those estimates are almost always lower than the reality. It makes the monthly carrying costs look better on paper during the sales process. Then you take possession and the actual strata budget gets set, and suddenly you're paying $60 to $100 a month more than you planned. In Vancouver, where strata fees are already higher than most markets, that gap can make a difference. Over a year, that's close to $1,000 that you didn't budget for. Next, we're going to talk about your money isn't working for you during construction. From the day you put put down your first deposit to the day you take possession, that capital is locked up. It's not earning rental income. It's not sitting in a high interest savings account. It's tied to a building that doesn't exist yet. For investors, that's a real opportunity cost that gets completely glossed over when someone is selling you the upside. Next, moving on to resale. And resale is very simple. And right now in this market, simple has a ton of value. What you see is what you get. When you walk through the actual unit, you feel the layout, you see how the light comes through in the afternoon, you hear the noise level from the hallway, you check if the mountain view is actually a mountain view or if it's the parkade of the building next door. There are no surprises between signing and possession because the product already exists. You can negotiate, and resale sellers in Vancouver right now are sitting on properties longer than they were 2 years ago. Days on market are up, and that means as a buyer, you have real room to move on price, on conditions, on timelines, and that leverage exists right now in a way it simply didn't during the peak of the market. There's no GST on most resale purchases, so you're not paying an extra $40,000 on $800,000 purchase. Compared to buying new, that's not a small number. Immediate possession. If you're an investor, you can start generating rental income from day one, not a 2-year wait. No deposit sitting idle while the market does whatever it does, and you get full transparency on the building's history before you commit. You can pull the Strata documents, the minutes, the depreciation report, the contingency reserve fund balance. You can see what's being repaired, what's coming up, what the building's actual financial health looks like. And you're making a decision with real information, not just projections on a sales sheet. Resale does have its own risks. Older buildings can come with baggage. BC has specific history with leaky condos. Resale does have its own risks, and I'm not going to skip over them. Older buildings can come with baggage. BC has a specific history with leaky condos, buildings from the late 80s through the late 90s with envelope issues that cause serious damage. Vancouver has more of these buildings than almost anywhere in the province. If you're looking at anything pre-2000, you need to do thorough due diligence. Pull the depreciation report, look at the contingency reserve fund, go through strata minutes carefully. A building with deferred maintenance is a liability, not a deal, no matter how good the price looks. When it comes to resale, you are inheriting someone else's decisions, their renovation choices, their finishes, their layout, and sometimes that's completely fine, but sometimes you're budgeting for a renovation before you even move in, and inventory can be a real constraint if you have a very specific building neighborhood or a view in mind, whether that's a concrete high-rise in Yaletown, a character conversion in Kitsilano, or a newer mid-rise on the east side. The resale market might not have it available right now. You may need to wait for the right unit or compromise on something in a way that pre-sale doesn't require a lot of the time. So here's where I land on this, and I'm someone who owns properties in this market, not just someone who sells them. For first-time buyers right now, I lean to resale. You know exactly what you're buying, immediate possession. You're not making a 2 to 3 year bet on where the market goes, and life can change fast. And across Vancouver right now, there is solid move-in ready inventory in the first time buyer price range: East Van, Renfrew, Fraserview, parts of the west side, Surrey, Langley, Abbotsford, Maple Ridge. And with buyer leverage right now that hasn't existed in years, you can make offers, put in conditions, negotiate, and the market is going to give you that opportunity that wasn't there in 2021 and 2022. So don't walk past it because a presentation center on Cambie has nicer lighting. For investors, it depends entirely on the specific deal. Presale can make sense if the price per square foot is genuinely below current resale market value, the developer has a proven track record on completed projects, and you have the financial flexibility to sit on deposits for 2 years and absorb whatever the market does between now and completion. But in the current environment, with the inventory we're watching hit the Vancouver market, a lot of presale pricing isn't the discount that it used to be. Run the actual numbers against comparable resale, factor in GST, factor in the carrying costs of idle deposits, and make the decision based on math, not the free parking stall and the rooftop terrace in the renderings. The bottom line, presale isn't bad and resale isn't automatically better. What matters is which fits your situation, your timeline, and your financial reality. So if you're trying to figure out which one makes sense for your situation right now, drop presale in the comments and I'll send you my full breakdown directly. Or if you just want to talk through the specifics, send me a DM, no pitch, no pressure, just a straight answer. Again, my name's Dan Reilly. I sell real estate across Metro Vancouver, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.